Hey, what is up you guys? My name is Catherine. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a first impressions review and demo / wear test of the new Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. I'm super excited to try out this foundation. I've been trying to get my hands on it for about a month now. It is sold in Ulta and in Walmart. However, it's not sold in every Ulta or every Walmart, so you might have to order it online. It retails for $13.99 for 1.01 fluid ounces of product. So those drugstore prices are really starting to creep up. It comes in 12 shades, so it's not the worst shade range that I've seen at the drugstore, but I'll just go ahead and pop a picture of the shade range up on the screen. It's really not the best. It could go way lighter and it could go way darker than it currently does. So hopefully that's a shade range that they'll be expanding in the future because it's 2018. We really need to start releasing foundations with shade ranges that cater to everyone, but that's just my opinion. Before I go ahead and try this out, I'm gonna read the claims from the description. Flower Beauty's Light Illusion Liquid Foundation is the perfect veil of buildable coverage. Light Illusion is a breakthrough foundation that achieves the impossible, provides you with the coverage you desire to smooth and perfect, while imparting your skin with the most flattering, soft luminosity imaginable. All with a weightless nude skin feel. Imperfections and uneven skin tone are diminished. Only a flawless, smooth, and incredibly natural complexion is revealed. Available in 12 skin perfecting shades. So it doesn't really give you any claims on the actual coverage. It just says that it gives you the coverage you desire. That can be really open-ended. And quick note, this does have SPF 18 in it, which it didn't say in the description, but it says right here on the bottle. I went ahead and picked up the shade Porcelain L1, which is the lightest shade available. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop some swatches of that up next to a couple other foundations that I have here at home. I am currently on spring break, so I don't have my whole range of foundations with me, but hopefully this will give you an idea of how this foundation compares to some other drugstore foundations. So this is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation in L1 Porcelain, the L'Oreal Pro Glow Foundation in 201 Classic Ivory, Maybelline Fit Me in 115, and the Wet n Wild Cushion Foundation in Light Neutral. And just a little background on my skin before I go ahead and try this out. I do have relatively dry skin. One of my biggest problems with foundations is that even some of my luminous foundations really don't wear comfortably throughout the day. I really like that nice dewy finish, and I like foundations that don't make my skin feel dry, obviously, because that's uncomfortable. And one last thing before I go ahead and try out this foundation, if you would take the time to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I do post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. It really does mean a lot to me. And without further ado, let's go ahead and try out this foundation. So packaging, absolutely gorgeous. This cute little rose gold glass bottle, really nice glass. And it comes with a pump. Thank the Lord. So I'm gonna go ahead and start out with 2 pumps of this. It's really thick. I wasn't expecting that just based off of the description. And I'm just gonna dot this on one side of my face. Like usual, I'm gonna be using a brush on one side of my face and a sponge on the other side of my face, just so we can see how this applies with both techniques. Alright, so on this side of my face, I'm gonna be blending out with a flat Morphe brush. This is from the Flawless Face set, I think, Flawless Complexion set, but I'm pretty sure this is the same brush as the Morphe VhWStx brush. It's just a flat top brush with dense bristles. Alright, so this blended out decently with the brush. For those of you who are new here, I don't put foundation directly under my eye because I find that it causes creasing. So bear with me while I have this little funky under eye going on here. I really like how the 2 pumps worked out for me, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other side of my face. And on this side of my face, I'm going to be blending out with a dampened Real Techniques sponge. I already soaked it in water, and I'm just going to give it a spritz of some Mario Babadook Rose Water. As I was blending this out, I realized I forgot to say what primer I used. I used the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Pore Defense Primer Serum today. I find that this is a really nice neutral primer for trying out foundations because it's not super hydrating, but it's also not super mattifying. So I can't really tell if I like how this blended out with the sponge or the brush better. This might actually be one of those where I could do both. I really tend not to love brushes unless it's a much thicker foundation, which this is a pretty thick foundation. So I'm just gonna zoom you guys in so you can see what one layer of foundation did in terms of coverage. So this did give me pretty good coverage just with one coat. I'm not someone who tends to want a super full coverage foundation, and this did definitely smooth out my skin, neutralize my redness. My pores right here are not super emphasized at all, and it doesn't look insanely dewy to the point where I look oily. I'm honestly happy with the coverage how it is right now. However, since this claims to have buildable coverage, I am gonna go ahead and do a second coat of foundation just to see how this builds up. So I'm just gonna do one more pump on each side of my face. So as of right now, I'm really loving how this looks on my face. My skin looks nice and healthy. My pores are not emphasized at all. There's no dry patches being emphasized. I would definitely say that right now I can tell that there's foundation on my skin, but that might change once I use some setting spray and finish up the rest of my makeup. The shade match looks pretty good. I know that this light sort of casts a shadow on my neck, so we'll have to test that out in natural lighting as well. I think I like how it applies with the sponge just a little bit better because that tends to give it more of a dewy finish, but I'll play around with that some more. It maybe like blends out easier with the brush, but then has a nicer finish with the sponge. I'm gonna go ahead and do my concealer now. For my concealer, I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define in the shade C4. I'm still loving this concealer. And I'm going to be setting this with my Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade Fair and that same damp Real Technique sponge. Alright, so the concealer blended into this perfectly fine. Powder set down fine. This doesn't really feel incredibly sticky or anything, so I'm not going to set this with powder. I'm just going to set it with setting spray. But I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my makeup off camera, and I will show you guys how this looks in natural light before we do a wear test. Alright, makeup is done. I went for the really groundbreaking peach eyeshadow in spring look. Everything applied perfectly fine over top of the foundation. I had no problem putting my powders or anything or having them blend into the foundation. And as always, everything that I used will be in the description box below. So since there's SPF in this, I am going to go ahead and do a flash test. Alright, and that definitely has some flashbacks, so it might not be the best foundation to wear if you are planning on having your picture taken. Let's go see how this looks in natural light. Alright, so this is the foundation in natural light. I definitely would say that this is a really good shade match for me, which that's great for me. However, this is the lightest shade, and I don't really consider myself to be super pale. I am relatively fair skinned, but I never really have problems finding foundations that are light enough for me, and I'm typically not the lightest shade in foundations. So if you are someone who tends to have trouble finding foundations light enough for you, you'll probably need to use a white mixer with this foundation. And this is all zoomed in. I'd say everything looks pretty good. I am noticing that my nose is like slightly patchy. However, My nose tends to get patchy and it is super dry today, so I'm not going to write that off right away. Everywhere else looks really nice and it feels really nice on the skin, and I'm not even sure if you can really see that patchiness. Like, I'm not sure if that's just in my head. So it's currently 4:30. I'm gonna call check-in time 4 o'clock because that's when I actually finished the foundation, concealer, and setting powder. So I will be back right before sunset so we can do another natural light check-in, and then in 4 hours, and then like 6 to 8 hours. All right, it is now 6:45. I'm getting that last little bit of sunlight coming in through the window, and I've had this foundation on for a little over 2.5, almost 3 hours. Just wanted to do my first check-in in natural light before the sun sets. I would definitely say that this is one of those foundations that like settles into your skin really nicely as you wear it a little bit more. I think that's the case for most people with dry skin, is that the like heat from your face sort of like melts the foundation into your skin a little nicer, so it doesn't look as like patchy or powdery. It looks a lot more skin-like. The two things that I am noticing, the first one is that I am getting like a little bit of uncomfortable dryness right in here. So I think this is a foundation where I would want to prep my skin with not just my usual daily moisturizer. I'd also want to do a couple drops of argan oil, like maybe 10-15 minutes before I put foundation on, which that's something that I'm having to do more and more, especially during the winter. I am going to be posting a skincare routine video soon just to give you guys an idea of how I do prep my skin morning and night. The second thing that I am noticing is that right here on my nose, I'm getting some like creasing on the sides of my nose, which that is super typical for me with foundation. I don't know if that's just my nose shape or what it is, but I think unless I'm wearing like a super light coverage foundation, like a serum foundation or a cushion foundation, I tend to get this little settling in there, and it's not that bad. Like everywhere else where I normally have problems, like I get a lot of fading along here often and I get some creasing in here, like none of those spots are having problems right now. So for being 2.5-3 hours in, I'm definitely still impressed with the foundation. I'll be back around 10 o'clock to do my 6-hour check-in. Okay, it's not 10 o'clock yet, but I just got like disproportionately excited because I was just like sitting here chilling, and I got the notification that the Taylor is reviewing this foundation as part of her 15 Days of Foundation series today. So that's super exciting. She does the best foundation reviews. I'll link hers down below also. But I'm gonna go watch that, and then I will do the 6-hour check-in. Okay guys, so it is now 11:30. I've had this foundation on for about 7.5, almost 8 hours now. Right around the 7-hour mark, this did start to break down a little bit in my T-zone and a bit in my chin area. These are the areas where I do tend to get oily if I do get oily throughout the day. So I'm not super surprised by that. I tend to not be someone that wears foundations for more than 4 to 6 hours just because that's how I am. So while this isn't something that really bothers me, I definitely wouldn't call this a long wearing foundation. So if you are someone that likes your foundations to last through those 8, 10, 12-hour work days, this might not be the best option for you. However, this is only me trying it with one primer, one setting spray. It could be that with a different primer, a different setting spray, if I just set this T-zone area with some loose finishing powder, that oil breaking down the foundation wouldn't actually happen. So I am definitely going to play around with this foundation some more. I do really like the foundation. I thought the finish was beautiful. I thought it applied really nice and easy. It didn't oxidize at all throughout the day, and like all my products blended into it super easily. So I definitely do like this foundation so far. I just definitely do want to play around with it and see how I can improve it by using different products with it. I would not recommend this foundation if you are someone who has like combo normal skin or oily skin, because that oil in your skin is just going to cause this foundation to break down more. But I wasn't really expecting it to be a foundation that I would be like, yeah, if you have oily skin, this would probably work for you. Like I was expecting this to be a good dry skin foundation. So yeah, I'm gonna play around with this. I'll definitely keep you guys updated on it. I will either mention it again in my bi-monthly favorites video. Even if it's not a bi-monthly favorites, I do like to just give a rundown on any products that I mentioned a lot or did a video on. And if it's one that I end up using a lot, you'll see it a lot and you'll just know that because I'm using it a lot, I really like it still. That is it for this video. I hope you guys liked this video. I was trying to do a really nice in-depth foundation review. This is kind of my first time doing a video that's this in-depth in terms of foundation reviews. So if you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That lets me know that you like this type of content and that I should keep making more of it. And if you didn't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. New videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And that is it. Hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye!